What if achieving a sustainable future meant ensuring every person on this planet enjoys their basic human rights? Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, are the blueprint for a better and more sustainable world. But what if we told you they go hand in hand with something equally important, which is human rights? The Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, are a set of 17 global objectives adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. They aim to address a wide range of social, environmental, and economic challenges and promotes prosperity while protecting the planet. SDG 1 is to end poverty in all its forms everywhere. The target is to end poverty in all forms everywhere by 2030, establish social safety measures, and ensure equal access to economic resources for both men and women. Those in extreme poverty struggles to meet their most basic needs. That includes health, education, access to water, and sanitation. Poverty exists in developed countries as well. Currently, 30 million children are growing up in impoverishment even in the world's wealthiest countries. It has been one of the most challenging problems to eradicate. Even though the number of people living in extreme poverty decreased, too many people are still struggling to meet their most fundamental needs. A call for an increase in actions and interventions is crucial to ensure that everyone, especially the most vulnerable, has access to resources and opportunities to live a life that is free from poverty and making sure that no one is left behind. By eradicating poverty, we are fulfilling the right to dignity and ensuring access to basic needs for all. Alleviating poverty is crucial for fulfilling basic human rights and is closely related to the right to an adequate standard of living, which includes access to food, clothing, housing, and healthcare as defined in the Article 25 of the Universal Declarations of Human Rights. Poverty eradication promotes justice and the fulfillment of economic and social rights. SDG 2, Zero Hunger, focuses on ending hunger, achieving food security, improving nutrition, and promoting sustainable agriculture by 2030. Hunger and malnutrition are impediments to sustainable development because hungry people are less productive, more vulnerable to disease, and unable to improve their livelihoods. A fundamental transformation of the global food and agriculture systems is required because, according to the latest report, around 735 million people were suffering from hunger in 2022, a sharp increase of 122 million people compared to 2019, and this trend worsened during pandemic. Urgent coordinated actions and policy solutions are needed to address entrenched inequities, restructure food systems, and invest in sustainable farming techniques, and prevent and mitigate the impact of conflict and pandemics on global nutrition and food security in order to achieve zero hunger by 2030. The right to food is essential for human dignity as recognized in the Article 25 of the Universal Declarations of Human Rights and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, emphasize the right to appropriate sustenance. Ending hunger is synonymous with ensuring that everyone has access to nutritious food for their health and well-being. Moreover, SDG 2 promotes the right to health, as food insecurity and malnutrition have serious health repercussions, especially among vulnerable groups such as the children. Hunger can cause stunting, malnutrition, and other long-term health problems. Hence, the essence of SDG 2 protects the right to physical and mental health by decreasing malnutrition and food insecurity. This goal also emphasizes the right to development by encouraging sustainable agricultural methods and ensuring that small-scale food producers have equal access to resources. These programs promote the right to participate in and profit from social and economic growth, hence creating a more equitable and inclusive society. SDG 2 aims to eradicate hunger and promote sustainable agriculture as part of a worldwide commitment to human dignity, health, and equitable development. SDG 3 ensure healthy living and encourage well-being for people of all ages. Progress towards this goal is strongly related to solving a wide variety of global health concerns, includes lowering maternal mortality, preventing child deaths, AIDS, universal health coverage, inexpensive essential medicines, sexual and reproductive health care, vaccine research, and medicine availability. Although the disparities in healthcare access persist, the COVID-19 pandemic and other current issues have slowed progress towards Goal 3. Nevertheless, the Sustainable Development Goals made a significant pledge to tackle epidemics of AIDS, tuberculosis, and other communicable diseases by 2030. The goal of SDG 3 is to attain universal health coverage and ensure that everyone has access to safe and cheap medications and vaccines. In this sense, increased investments in health system is required to help countries recover and create resilience to future health risks, and to further overcome these hurdles and address long-standing healthcare inadequacies. This goal is intrinsically linked to the right to health, which is a fundamental human right as stated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and as well as outlined in the Article 12 of the ICSCR. Access to healthcare, life-saving medications, and health services are basic human rights. Hence, SDG 3 aims to reduce health inequities and provide fair access to healthcare, particularly for marginalized people. By establishing health as a human right, SDG 3 ensures that individuals from all socioeconomic backgrounds may access the required resources and support to lead healthy, productive lives. SDG 4 ensures inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Education is the key human right recognized under Article 26 of the UDHR. Ensuring inclusive and equitable education empowers individuals, reduces inequality, and promotes social and economic mobility. It is crucial for the development of human capital and individual freedom. Both SDG 4 and human rights urge for non-discriminatory access to education. They seek to eliminate inequities in educational access for underserved populations, such as girls, rural children, people with disabilities, and minorities. This is consistent with the human rights concept of equality before the law and the right to non-discrimination. When people are educated, they are able to appreciate and advocate for their own and others' human rights. As SDG 4 emphasizes the premise that high-quality education leads to informed, active, and empowered people, and that is also the reason why education is considered to be the most powerful tool to claim our rights as human. To sum it all up, SDG 4 and human rights both emphasize access to education as a right, with the goal of promoting equality, empowerment, and human dignity. By attaining SDG 4, societies may advance human rights and promote sustainable development. SDG 5 ensures gender equality and empower women and girls. The goal is to include eliminating discrimination and violence against women and girls, recognizing unpaid care and domestic work, promoting women's full involvement, providing access to reproductive health care, and ensuring equitable access to economic resources. Gender equality is rooted in the UDHR's call for non-discrimination in the Article 2. SDG 5 is consistent with the fundamental human right to equal treatment regardless of gender. Achieving gender equality is essential for safeguarding the rights of women and girls, ensuring access to education, economic opportunities, and health care while combating violence and discrimination. In conclusion, SDG 5 and human rights share the core goal of achieving gender equality and empowering women and girls. Achieving SDG 5 contributes to the realization of women's rights in all aspects of life, that is social, economic, and political, thereby creating a more and just equitable society. SDG 6 ensures sustainable management of water and sanitation for everyone. The goal includes providing safe and affordable drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene for all, reducing pollution, boosting water use efficiency, and encouraging participatory management of water and sanitation services. The right to water and sanitation is critical to human dignity and is recognized under human rights law. Access to clean water and sanitation is essential for health, survival, and maintaining an adequate standard of living. SDG 6 aims to avoid waterborne infections and promote cleanliness for all, thereby promoting the human right to the best possible health. Furthermore, SDG 6 encourages equal access to water and sanitation, ensuring that everyone, especially those marginalized sectors such as people with disabilities, elderly, and living in the rural areas, are not left behind. This is also consistent with human rights, values of non-discrimination and equality, and that everyone has equal access to critical services regardless of their circumstances. To summarize, SDG 6 and human rights are linked by the recognitions of water and sanitation as fundamental human rights that promote health, equality, and dignity for all. As this crucially safeguard these essential human rights while also promoting sustainable development.
Our everyday life depends on reliable and affordable energy, and yet the consumption of energy is a dominant contributor to climate change, accounting for around 60% of total global greenhouse gas emissions. From 2015 to 2021, the proportion of the global population with access to electricity has increased from 87% to 91%. In 2021, developing countries installed a record-breaking 268 watts per capita of renewable energy generating capacity. And yet in 2021, there were still 675 million people around the world with no access to electricity. Ensuring universal access to affordable electricity by 2030 means investing in clean energy sources such as solar, wind, and thermal. Expanding infrastructure and upgrading technology to provide clean energy in all developing countries is a crucial goal that can both encourage growth and help the environment. SDG 7 promotes human rights by fostering conditions that enable people to live healthier, more dignified, and prosperous lives through access to sustainable energy. Multiple crises are placing the global economy under serious threat. Global real GDP per capita growth is forecast to slow down in 2023 and with ever-increasing challenging economic conditions. More workers are turning to informal employment. Globally, labor productivity has increased and the employment rate has decreased. However, progress is needed to increase employment opportunities, especially for young people. SDG 8 aims to create more opportunities for employment, particularly for young people and vulnerable populations, while improving labor rights and eliminating forced labor, human trafficking, and child labor. It also highlights the need for sustainable practices, encouraging innovation, diversification of economies, and resource efficiency to achieve long-term growth without harming the environment. By promoting decent work and fair wages and economic inclusion, SDG 8 contributes to the fulfillment of fundamental human rights, ensuring that economic progress translates into better living conditions, dignity, and equality for all, as recognized in Article 23 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The manufacturing industry's recovery from COVID-19 is incomplete and uneven. Global manufacturing growth slowed down to 3.3% in 2022 from 7.4% in 2021. The share of manufacturing least developed countries remains low, posing a serious challenge to the target of doubling industry's share of GDP by 2030. However, medium, high, and high technology industries demonstrated robust growth rates as of 2022. 95% of the world's population was within reach of a mobile broadband network, but some areas remain undeserved. Ultimately, SDG 9 seeks to create sustainable economic growth, reduce inequalities between countries, and enhance the quality of life for all by ensuring resilient infrastructure, industrial progress, and technological advancement. In summary, SDG 9 advances human rights by promoting equitable access to infrastructure, creating opportunities for decent work, fostering innovation, and ensuring that development is both inclusive and sustainable. The incomes of the poorest 40% of the population have been growing faster than the national average in most countries. But emerging yet inconclusive evidence suggests that COVID-19 may have put a dent in this positive trend of falling within country inequality. The pandemic has caused the largest rise in between-country inequality in 3 decades. SDG 10 targets reducing income inequality, improving the economic inclusion of marginalized groups, and limiting discriminatory laws and practices. It also emphasizes the need for fair and safe migration policies and aims to enhance the voice and representation of developing countries in global decision-making. The goal promotes social, economic, and political equality, focusing on bridging the gap between the rich and the poor, addressing inequalities based on age, gender, ethnicity, disability, or socioeconomic status, and ensuring that globalization benefits everyone equitably. In essence, SDG 10's goals of reducing inequality is rooted in the human rights principle that all individuals, regardless of their background or circumstances, deserve an equal opportunities, protection from discrimination, and access to all resources necessary for dignified life. In the developing world, the rapid growth of cities along with the increasing rural to urban migration has led to a boom in megacities. In 1990, there were 10 megacities with 10 million inhabitants or more. In 2014, there are 28 megacities home to a total of 453 million people. This rapid urbanization outpaces the development of housing, infrastructure, and services, which lead to a rise in slums or slum-like condition. It recognizes the challenges of rapid urbanization such as overcrowding, pollution, inadequate infrastructure, and increased vulnerability to natural disaster. SDG 11 focuses on improving urban planning and management to ensure affordable housing, accessible transportation, green spaces, and basic services for all. It also emphasizes reducing the environmental impact of cities, particularly in terms of air quality and waste management. Overall, SDG 11 is essential for creating urban environments that respect and promote human rights, ensuring that everyone can live in dignity, safety, and sustainability. SDG 12 focuses on ensuring sustainable consumption and production patterns. It aims to reduce waste, promote the efficient use of natural resources, minimize environmental impacts from consumption and production processes, and encourage the adoption of sustainable practices by governments, businesses, and consumers. The goal emphasizes the importance of reducing food waste and managing chemical waste in an environmentally sound manner, promoting recycling and the efficient use of resources to foster a more sustainable future. SDG 12 supports human rights by fostering practices that protect health, ensure access to resources, and promote equality in the use and distribution of natural assets.
Climate change is not a future threat, but a present reality. It is already happening today. Its impacts are already being felt globally, from rising sea levels and extreme weather events like El Niño and La Niña, to changes in agricultural yields and ecosystem disruptions due to the amount of typhoons that had passed and are still coming. This goal emphasizes the need for immediate action to mitigate climate change and adapt to its consequences. To do this, reducing greenhouse gases emissions like the chlorofluorocarbons is crucial. Sustainable Development Goal 13 also emphasizes building resilience to climate change. This involves adapting to the changing climate, developing climate-smart infrastructure, and implementing early warning systems for extreme weather events. For this to be addressed, it requires global cooperation. This involves sharing knowledge and technologies, supporting developing countries in their efforts, and promoting international agreements. Every individual can also contribute to climate change action. Simple changes in lifestyle, such as reducing energy consumption, choosing sustainable transportation, and reducing waste, can collectively make a significant difference. In connection to human rights, this Sustainable Development Goal is linked to the right to life and right to a healthy environment, as climate change poses significant threats to human health and well-being. This goal focuses on conserving and sustainably using the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Oceans are vital for life on Earth. They regulate climate, provide food and livelihoods, and support a vast array of biodiversity. This Sustainable Development Goal aims to reduce marine pollution. This involves minimizing plastic pollution, reducing nutrient runoff from agriculture, and managing hazardous substances properly. It also aims to protect marine ecosystems. This includes safeguarding coral reefs, mangroves, and seagrass beds, and managing fisheries sustainably. This also aims to educate people that their actions directly affect the oceans. If our oceans are well taken care of, we will have an abundance in resources. This goal focuses on protecting, restoring, and promoting sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably managing forests, combating desertification, halting and reversing land degradation, and halting biodiversity loss. Human activities such as deforestation, agriculture, and urbanization are leading to land degradation and biodiversity loss. This goal aims to protect and restore terrestrial ecosystems, ensuring their sustainable use for future generations. Forests play a vital role in regulating climate, providing clean water, and supporting biodiversity. Sustainable Development Goal 15 emphasizes the importance of sustainable forest management, reforestation, and reducing deforestation. Agriculture is a major driver of land degradation and biodiversity loss. This goal promotes sustainable agricultural practices that minimize environmental impacts, conserve soil health, and enhance biodiversity. Desertification is a process of land degradation in arid and semi-arid regions. SDG 15 aims to combat desertification through sustainable land management practices such as afforestation, water conservation, and soil restoration. This goal focuses on promoting peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, providing access to justice for all, and building effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. This SDG aims to address peace and security, rule of law and good governance, human rights and equality, and reducing inequality. Conflict and violence are major obstacles of sustainable development. This goal aims to promote peaceful and inclusive societies, reduce violence and conflict, and ensure access to justice for all. Strong institutions, the rule of law, and good governance are essential for sustainable development. This goal promotes transparency and accountability and participation in decision-making processes. SDG 16 recognizes the importance of human rights and equality for all. It aims to reduce discrimination, promote gender equality, and ensure equal access to justice and opportunities. Inequality is a major driver of conflict and instability. This goal aims to reduce inequality within and among countries, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to thrive. This Sustainable Development Goal promotes the right to peace, the right to justice, and the right to participate in government. All of these are essential for a just and sustainable society. Achieving the SDGs require global cooperation and collaboration. This goal emphasizes the importance of partnerships between governments, businesses, civil society, and individuals. Sustainable development also requires significant financial resources. Sustainable Development Goal 17 promotes increased official development assistance, private investment, and sustainable finance mechanisms for this to be successful. Sustainable Development Goal 17 also promotes technology transfer and capacity building. Sharing knowledge and technologies, particularly with developing countries like the Philippines, is crucial for achieving SDGs. They need the advancement of technology that the first world countries are using to cope up with the global changes. In implementing these social development goals, effective monitoring and evaluation are essential for tracking progress towards the SDGs. This goal promotes the collection, analysis, and dissemination of data related to sustainable development to assess the effectiveness and flaws if there may be. Achieving the SDGs is a complex and challenging task, but it is essential for creating a more sustainable and equitable future for all. Achieving sustainable development also requires a commitment to upholding human rights and ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to live a dignified and fulfilling life. By working together, we can build a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive while respecting the limits of our planet and creating a more just, equitable, and sustainable world for all.